The shrill, mechanical groan tore through the peaceful morning, ripping away the last shreds of my Sunday calm. It wasn't a car, or a lawnmower, or a passing truck. It was a guttural, earth-shaking rumble, the kind that vibrates through your bones and makes your teeth ache. I rushed to the window, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs, and my blood ran colder than a winter frost. A bulldozer. A massive, industrial yellow bulldozer was sitting right there, on my lawn, its blade hovering over my prized petunias. And then I saw her. Linda Sterling, the self-proclaimed empress of our homeowners association, stood by its side, a triumphant, wicked smirk plastered across her face, her hands on her hips like a Roman conqueror. "This has to be a joke," I whispered, the words catching in my throat. My daughter, Lily, tugged at my sleeve, her eyes wide with a child's pure, unadulterated terror. "Mommy, what's that?" she whimpered. I felt a primal surge of something hot and liquid and dangerous coursing through my veins. It was no joke. I didn't know what Linda's endgame was, but the look in her eyes was pure, unadulterated malice. This was personal. This was a war. And I wasn't about to let her win. I grabbed my phone, my hands shaking so hard I almost dropped it, and started recording. The screen flickered to life, capturing the scene, the hulking yellow beast, the smug, venomous woman, and my little patch of heaven about to be reduced to rubble. "This is for the unapproved garden bed," Linda sneered, her voice carrying across the lawn like the crack of a whip. "And the non-compliant paint color." The HOA board voted unanimously. A lie. A blatant, audacious, bald-faced lie. I was there. I'd been at that meeting. There was no unanimous vote. I remembered arguing with her for what felt like hours, presenting the documents and permits. But she didn't care. She never did. "Stop!" I screamed, bolting out the front door, the screen door slamming behind me. "You can't do this." The operator, a young man with a face full of dirt and a deer-in-the-headlights expression, looked from Linda to me, his hands frozen on the controls. This was my opening. My tiny, desperate window. I moved closer, my camera still rolling. "Sir, I have a permit for everything you see here. This is illegal." "She's lying." I looked at Linda, my voice dropping to a low, furious hiss. "You're a monster, Linda. A complete monster." Her face went from smug to purple with rage. "You think you can defy the rules?" "I am the rules," she shrieked. But a flicker of doubt crossed her eyes, a tiny crack in her facade. Just then, a figure stepped from behind the bulldozer. It was Marco, the foreman. I'd seen him around the neighborhood before, a quiet man who kept to himself. But now, he looked horrified. He saw me, saw the camera, and his eyes met mine, a silent plea passing between us. He took a deep breath, and it was a sound that seemed to carry the weight of the entire morning. "She told me this was a city-ordered demolition," he said, his voice gruff but clear. "Said the house was condemned. She showed me a forged document." The words hung in the air, a bombshell. Linda's triumphant smirk dissolved into a mask of pure terror. You can't," she stammered, pointing at him. "He's lying. He's with her." But it was too late. The small crowd of neighbors, who had been watching in stunned silence, now erupted in a chorus of gasps and murmurs. Their whispers were like sharp knives, stabbing at her crumbling reputation. My hands, which had been shaking, steadied. A cold, quiet resolve settled over me. This wasn't about a flower bed or a paint color anymore. This was about a deliberate, malicious act of fraud and destruction. The camera was still recording. "I have everything," I said, my voice now calm and steady. "I have the footage of you admitting it's about a non-existent violation. I have Marco's testimony. And I have the forged document you used." The air was thick with the scent of freshly turned earth and the quiet horror of a neighborhood waking up to a dark truth. Linda's face was a study in defeat, her carefully constructed kingdom of rules and regulations crumbling around her. I looked at her, truly looked at her, and saw not a powerful HOA president, but a desperate, pathetic woman. The kind of person who uses a bulldozer to get their way. The courtroom was cold, sterile, and unforgiving. The fluorescent lights hummed, and the sound of my own heart felt deafening. The judge, a woman with a sharp gaze and an expressionless face, listened intently as my lawyer presented our case. The footage I had captured played on a large screen, the shaky video revealing the monstrous yellow machine, Linda's arrogant sneer, and the horrified faces of my neighbors. It was a raw, visceral moment, and a collective gasp filled the room. Then, Marco took the stand. He was nervous, but his testimony was clear, honest, and damning. He recounted how Linda had tricked him, how she'd shown him a fake city seal on a demolition order. "I didn't think twice," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "She was the HOA president. I thought she had authority." He looked at me, a silent apology in his eyes. I gave him a small, grateful nod. And then, it was Linda's turn. She strutted to the stand, her head held high, a fragile shield of arrogance protecting her. She tried to deny everything, to claim I had provoked her, to say the footage was edited. But her words rang hollow. She couldn't look anyone in the eye. When my lawyer presented the actual city permit for my home, and then the forged one Linda had given Marco, her composure shattered. The smugness was gone. The venomous snarl was replaced with a terrified, whimpering facade. The judge's gavel hit the wood with a sharp, final crack. The verdict was swift. Linda Sterling was found guilty of property damage, fraud, and harassment. The court ordered her to pay for the complete rebuilding of my home, plus significant damages for emotional distress. She would also be permanently banned from holding any position of power in the community. She looked at me one last time, her eyes filled with a searing, venomous hatred, before she was led away. The past few months have been a whirlwind of contractors, blueprints, and the healing warmth of community. My neighbors, once a silent audience, now regularly bring over food and offer to help. The old garden bed is gone, replaced by a beautiful, hand-built stone patio. The front of the house, which Linda had condemned, has been repainted in a vibrant, welcoming shade of blue. My home, my safe haven, is being reborn, not just by wood and nails, but by a sense of solidarity that had been missing before. It's a powerful lesson in standing up for what's right, even when the odds are against you. But it also makes me wonder, in a society so obsessed with rules and authority, where does the line between right and wrong truly lie? And when someone in power uses their position to inflict pain, are we complicit by our silence? What do you think?